Noswaith good evening, pawb.
Os with our pawb, I'm Liam, Executive Director at Theatre Clwyd.
And I'm Tamara, Artistic Director at Theatre Clwyd.
Croeso, it feels like we'd be far happier if we could see you all in person, but you'll have to just deal with the two of us for this evening. This is a members launch event, ladies and gentlemen.
Where we will actually be launching theatre.
And we may even get to do some of it.
we're just a little bit giddy because it's been a very long time since we've been able to launch a season, and we're launching a season, and it's not as lovely as it would be if we were in a room with all of you, but it is still kind of amazing and a bit giddy making to be talking about shows that we're going to have on our stages this spring and summer. And we can say that with confidence-ish, almost completely confidence, because
The Welsh Government announced in their most recent review last Friday just gone, that theatres can open from the 17th of May in Wales, which is the first time since the first lockdown last March that theatres have been able to open in Wales. So we're going to talk to you about things indoors, outdoors, wherever we can do it, really. We'll offer. And any of you who have come to members events previously will know that Tamara and I are silly at the best of times, so bear with us.
Harsh. I always think we're very, very sensible. And as Liam is about to share his screen, the other thing that's worth saying is that we're also, before any of this this program begins, we're also going to be opening up our building for teas and coffees and refreshments. When I say our building, we'll have some space out the front where you can sit. And so do, even before you come to any of this, do please come up the hill and see us for food and drink. And Sam, our director of comms, who is going to attempt to keep us in check through all of this, is saying, if you want to ask a question about any of this, we'll respond to as many as we can at the end. There's a form at the bottom of your page where you can type in your question, and then it will magically appear in front of us.
This is great because we've done a number of different presentations in this format previously, and we always get prompted by Sam. We even forget to introduce ourselves sometimes, so just missing the questions is not too bad.
Okay, so we are going to do stuff. I mean, you can read, so we're not going to read you the stuff that it says here, but we are going to do stuff indoors and outdoors. We're going to do stuff that we will make ourselves, our own produced shows, and we're going to do stuff that is coming to visit us. There will be music and theatre and dance and comedy and stuff for kids and stuff for big kids, and it's all going to be in one big amazing season this spring and summer. And look, there's even going to be a brochure.
There's even going to be a brochure, which is big for Sam and the communications team, because we did a brochure last year and we just never sent it because everything shifted. Just before we move on and tell you what's coming up, it's worth just acknowledging it's been a really tough year for everybody, to differing levels. For us, we're all okay, the teams are okay, our families are okay, so we acknowledge that that's not the same for everybody. And whilst we've not been able to tell stories on our stages this last year, apart from a cheeky test partnership with Welsh Government for our outdoor stage, which we may just be repeating in some way this summer, we have done what we can to support those we can. So you'll know a lot of this, but we've delivered our food stocks in partnership with social services. That led on to us delivering rainbow boxes in partnership to the same families to offer the young people a bit of creativity. We've been a blood donation centre, and extraordinary information from the NHS has come back recently saying they think, due to our partnership, over 2,000 lives have been saved because of the blood that's been donated here. And because of Sam and the comms team, they also put down a rise in 26% of new people donating blood because of the communications around that. We've also been a creative hub again in partnership with social services, where they referred through some of the most vulnerable young adults in Flintshire County Council to us during a lot of the holidays in between schools. What else have we been up to, Tamara? I can't remember.
We've also, where we can, we've kept telling stories, and we've kept sharing little bits of creativity. So we had Theatr Clwyd and Heath, Theatr Clwyd together, where we got lots of our team and freelancers to do little dollops of creativity online. We've had in conversations with some really fascinating actors, writers, directors, musical directors. We've done secret shows, online play readings, and one of those is actually going to come to life in real life. And we've done an adaptation, The Picture of Dorian Gray, which was in co-production with Oxford Playhouse, the Lawrence Batley Theatre, New Wolsey Theatre in Ipswich, the Barn Theatre in Cirencester. And the really lovely thing about that was that there was something amazing about collaborating with other theatres across the country, even in this moment when it's so difficult to make things together.
And alongside that, the final thing to mention is that we did a micro bursary for our freelancers. As you know, will have told you, I would have thought, many in our industry are freelancers, over 70% in the theatre industry, and their work disappeared overnight. And many of you have supported us lots of ways, but many of you donated towards that micro bursary scheme, which allowed us to offer just a week's wages to 108 different freelancers, to allow them a little bit of time, a little bit of respite, to pay their rent, but also to follow some sort of kind of creative development. So
we've had some amazing messages back from so many of those freelancers, just saying that it has been, even that little pot of money, but that chance to be creative has been one of the things that has pulled them through this time. So yeah, diolch yn fawr, thank you.
So we know that when you come and join us, you'll want to know about this. We take this really, really seriously. We're going to have loads of fun. There's going to be all of the things that Tamara mentioned, right from music through to theatre and comedy. But when you arrive, there will be smaller audiences. So we'll be operating with at least 2 metre social distancing until Welsh Government change that. Plenty of hand sanitizer, reduced queuing. I mean, you can read it here. I don't need to go through all of it. We have been, as we mentioned, the only theatre in Wales lucky enough to do live performance last year. We have done all of those things in the building that we've already mentioned. And touch wood, we have yet to have any cases of COVID relating to the work that we do, and we tend to keep that the same way. So if you want any information about the COVID security we've got in place, just phone the box office. We're happy to talk you through it. So we have to start here. I'm going to talk about this one because Tamara Harvey she's due to direct her first full panto ever in her career. She had a kind of a half go last year. We were meant to do Beauty and the Beast. I'm sure many of you were booked in. We were really sad to postpone it, and Tamara and the team did brilliantly at doing an alternative version, the panto that nearly never was, which nearly never was, but we did get online. So we've moved this. Now, many of you will have booked already. If you have done, don't worry, your tickets have been transferred, and the team will be in touch over the next 3 or 4 weeks just to check in with you. You are, of course, members, so you get treated, you get special treatment, don't you? So you can book from the 24th of May. Booking reopens for this year's version of Beauty and the Beast, which will be, we're confident. And then, of course, on the 31st of May, it opens to, I think Sam would say, the normal people. You're the special people as members. The others are the normal people.
Muggles. But
muggles,
the really important thing to add to that is that if you already have tickets, don't worry, you don't need to do anything. We will get in touch with you and make sure that that booking is where and how it needs to be.
Very good.
For the grace of you go I. So when on the 16th of March, Boris Johnson told everyone to stop going to theatres, we were 1 week away from starting rehearsals for this world premiere of a new play by Alan Harris, in the interim, the now BAFTA award-winning Alan Harris, who is a very brilliant Welsh playwright who wrote Love, Lies and Taxidermy that some of you may have seen. And what we love about Alan Harris, the reason we commissioned him to write another play for us, is that he has a real gentleness in his writing, a really beautiful kind of gentle comedic edge that's I don't know, it's a little bit Richard Curtis, it's really heartwarming. And what he's done with this play is he's looking at really powerful issues around mental health, around people who fall through the cracks in society, but doing it with that same warmth, that same light-hearted touch. So this is going to be directed by James Grieve, who directed The Assassination of Katie Hopkins, who was until recently the co-artistic director of Payne's Plough, so directed lots of the roundabout plays that some of you might have seen. And it's got a couple of familiar faces, and then Darren Jeffries is joining us new. So it's got Remy Beasley, it's got Roger Malia, but Darren is new to us. And that will be in a socially distanced Emlyn Williams Theatre. And the other fun thing about that is if you're also a film buff, it's got a very strong filmic connection running all the way through it. So yes, for the grace of you, go I.
I'm excited about all of them. This one I'm particularly excited about. So what's this, Tamara?
Right, okay. Bear with me, because this is going to take a moment, and you have to keep listening, because it's not straightforward. Curtain Up is going to be 3 weeks of new short plays, and it's our celebration of the amazing people who make theatre, and also our celebration of the live. So it came about because we had lots of conversations with you, and you were all saying how much you were missing live theatre, live performance, and we had lots of conversations with our wider freelance community, and they were all saying how much they missed creativity and spontaneity and playfulness. And so we have commissioned a bunch of writers, and we're going to be working with a bunch of actors. And for you as audience members, each of the 3 weeks are going to have 5 plays. So week 1, you're going to walk in, and there will be in front of you a smorgasbord of props and costumes. And the first thing that will happen is we'll say, okay, we need you to pick a prop for play number 1, a costume for play number 2, and all 5 of the plays. And then we will play. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. We'll ask for volunteers. We will play scissors, paper, stone to decide who plays which role in the plays, because the roles will have been learned by 2 different actors. And then it will start. And so you will know, watching, the moments when the actors are doing stuff that they've known and rehearsed, and the moments when they're doing stuff that they're just having to dive into in the moment. So it will be completely live in the most beautiful sense. It will probably be a little bit chaotic in the most beautiful sense. Also very strongly rehearsed, because I'm helming it. And the great thing is that then you can come back in week 2 and see a whole different bunch of plays and a whole different bunch of actors, and the same in week 3. And if you really enjoy it, then you could come back the next night and see the same plays, but played with different props, different costumes, and by different actors. So
I cannot tell you how exhilarating this kind of evening of theatre is. If you've not seen it, if you kind of go, I'm intrigued, but I'm not sure, Tamara, thanks, give it a go. It really, really does. I have never experienced such electricity when everybody is going, this is absolutely happening uniquely in this moment, in this evening, with this audience and this set of actors. It's very exciting. And
some of the writers are, you will know, some of them we've had their work here before, some will be new to us, and there'll be lots of familiar faces in the acting company. So a bit of the old, a bit of the new, and lots of theatrical mayhem and magic.
So next up, blindness. So this was originally produced at the Donmar Warehouse last year, coming out of the first lockdown. It's a sound installation that will be installed. I think it's on the Anthony Hopkins Theatre stage now, isn't it, Tamara? It's about a pandemic that causes blindness. Voiced brilliantly by Juliet Stevenson. I'm sure all of you will know who she is. This is really quite experienced, very, very small amount of tickets for this event.
The Family Arts Festival, hooray! I think I'd love this even if I wasn't a mum, but as a mum, I particularly love it. It's a whole weekend, 3 days worth of shows and workshops, and we're going to have our caravan, our Airstream caravan at the front of our building, mostly outdoors. So Liam mentioned our outdoor stage. That will be back, and we're also doing there are shows that will be happening in kind of other bits of our hilltop realm, and there are some, you'll see there are some recognizable titles. There's our own homegrown show, Gwrach, which is our co-production with Pontio, and we're doing that in both Welsh and English. So yeah, it's a really lovely weekend for kids and their families.
Very good. So many of you will know that we took on the Flintshire Music Service a couple of years ago and have been slowly integrating it into the Theatre Clwyd Music Service. And we just wanted to highlight this to you. So it doesn't matter who you are, whether you've learnt a musical instrument previously or not, you now have the opportunity to contact us, and one of our 35 employed musicians who are dedicated and skilled at teaching musical instruments or singing could give you some lessons. So do look up some more information on the website. Alongside this, we're still responsible for all of the musical education in all of the schools across our county. So, is this a show on the Anthony Hopkins stage? I hear you ask. The first one since March last year?
It is. It's a thriller. It's about a meeting between Graham Greene and his old MI6 boss. It's starring the very lovely Oliver Ford Davis, who is an Olivier Award-winning actor, but better known perhaps to the younger, well, maybe not just the younger generation, better known at the moment for his role in Game of Thrones. But yeah, it's had rave reviews, as you can see. I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard really wonderful things about it. So if you fancy seeing an actual play in an actual theatre, this is going to be a really good one.
Very good. We've all missed our classical music at Theatre Clwyd, and there's plenty of it in the programme. Catherine Finch's course is always up there for our audiences, so do look out for the classical season. Which then ties in nicely to our outdoor stage, which
we're giggling because it's possible that we might have photoshopped this image a tiny bit.
No, it's that hot in North Wales all the time that's the kind of sunset you get. I know plenty of you came along last year. We've had confirmation that we're able to get up to a really sensible capacity with social distancing outside. It's a bigger stage this year. It's a bigger programme. We'd just like to tell you about some of it.
And it is also, it's worth saying, we're being very mischievous because we like to tease Sam, but it kind of is that beautiful sitting up there on a summer's evening with a view across to Moel Famau and the Clwydian Hills and listening to music or stories or comedy. Some of the happiest moments I had last summer were sitting watching stuff on our outdoor stage.
It's also worth saying, if like me, you remember right at the end, so we were given the clearance to do the test events with Welsh Government quite late on. We weren't told until August, and we were like, we're going to stretch the events as long as possible. We went quite deep into September. We actually started playing into the autumn, perhaps even the winter. We're starting way earlier in the summer, so just keep that in mind. It's going to be warmer.
So how to win against history. This is really exciting because this gentleman here, pictured here, Sairiol Davis, it was his show and his company that were in rehearsals in the Emlyn Williams Theatre when theatres got shut down last year, and we had to go down and tell them all to go to take off their costumes and go home. They were 4 days away from opening. So we're not putting Milky Peaks on yet, but we have lured Sairiol back to do his multi-award winning, massively critically acclaimed show, How to Win Against History, which is just brilliant. So do come and see that. And as well as being an amazing evening of theatre, it will also give you a little snapshot of what's in store when we do get to bring Milky Peaks to our stage.
Madcap satirical musical. It's probably a good way to describe it. Something a bit more traditional when it comes to musicals. Some of the best young Welsh talent singing some of the traditional musical favourites. They were a huge hit last year on our outdoor stage, so we thought we'd invite them back. Oh, Tamara, is that a child, or a child trying to be a dinosaur, or what is that in the background?
I think it's a child auditioning for Welsh at the West End, to be honest, from the sound of it. This, I think, is about to stop. Anyway, Ennio, the little brother. So Ennio, the little brother, did a show in the Emlyn Williams Theatre last autumn when we weren't allowed to have audiences, but we were able to live stream it, and some of us who were working were able to watch it. And he's extraordinary. It's music, and he chats to you as audience, and the songs that he writes have such kind of stories in them. He grew up in Connors Quay. He's also been working with us a bit on another project that we're doing with vulnerable young people. He's a really extraordinary talent, and this is kind of this is overused by those of us who work in theatre, but I really do feel like see him here before he just goes global, because he's just he's a really extraordinary musician and artist.
I didn't get to see him last year. I'm definitely booking him for that one myself. Just a bit more of a plug for the classical music on the outdoor stage. Worth saying that Temba Mavala actually is one of the alumni from the Flintshire Music Service. So he trained with some of the musicians that we were talking about earlier.
We don't just have classical music, we also have our jazz, lots of jazz events, including the North Wales Blues and Soul Festival in July, well, end of July, August. So yeah, there's no matter what your musical taste, there's hopefully something for you in the season.
And of course, we always have stand-up comedy available for you. So one of the biggest names there is Tudor Owen, of course. This varies. So there's online, there's indoors, there's outdoors. So have a look at the comedy lineup.
And we've got dance. So we've got the National Dance Company of Wales, who we're really lucky. They sell out all over the world, and we get to bring them to Theatre Clwyd. They're going to be doing 2 new pieces, which are I haven't seen either of them, but they're I think they've focused particularly one of them on the joy of dance. So if you haven't seen the National Dance Company of Wales, they're really worth a watch.
So any of you who are regular members and ticket buyers, which we know you all are, will know about this, but we have our subscription packages, which is all about the more you see, the less it costs you. So here's some of the discounts, but this is an addition this year. So members now get an additional extra 5%, additional extra. I'm layering it on. It's on and on and on. It's just the 5% in addition to what you get when you kind of multi-buy. So please do have a look. You've got to book them all in one go. And then, well, that's the season announcement for now. But we thought we might also just remind you of some of the other big things going on in our working lives here, which is our capital redevelopment. So Tamara and I did a number of capital consultations in this format last week. We did a lot in 2019 when our planning application went in, our first planning application, which was positively accepted. And we also asked a lot of you in 2017 when we were doing our feasibility. This project's really motoring on. We've just got a few images to show you. I don't know if you want to talk through it lightly, Tamara.
Yeah, so as you may know or remember, the road in front of the theatre is only there for us. So we're going to be turning that into 2 turning circles, which is positive in lots of ways. It means that the disabled access to the building is much, much closer to the front doors. It also means that we can grass over the whole of the front of the building, so you can spill out on a day like today onto the grass and right to kind of on top of the car park beyond, so that you can look out over those views. We're bringing the front of the building, mostly we're just reconfiguring spaces inside to make it make a bit more sense, but we are building this new bit on the front of the building to bring us closer to those amazing views. And you can see there's also an overhanging canopy so that we're protected from the hottest of the sun on hot days, and then obviously in winter we'll get sunshine through into the front of the building. There'll also be a new terrace, so that there's an outdoor space on that first floor level, which will be where our bar, cafe, restaurant is, although there'll still be kind of grab and go food on the ground floor level. And you can see that there'll be lots of green walls growing up the walls of the building, both to protect it and also a really kind of at the heart of this project for us is both business sustainability. Of course, we want to make sure that we can survive and thrive into the future, and also sustainability in terms of our planet. All of us, it's the biggest crisis facing the entire world right now, and we want to make sure we do our bit to try and be sustainable.
And the scheme is achieving that. So we now know over this most recent design phase, only in the last month actually, after Tamara and I banging on at the architects and the design teams for the last 2 or 3 years, that the building will be gas free. That it will reach carbon neutral when opening, and as long as we get really good with our operations, we'll be offering energy back to the earth as time goes on. And also this project, as well as kind of just, these are the glossy images, aren't they? There's dedicated spaces for health and well-being, all of that work we do in the community and with referrals from NHS and social services, dedicated spaces for our young people, improved event spaces. The Clwyd Room really becomes a home for weddings and 18th and 21st birthday parties and all sorts of family events. Rehearsal rooms for the first time. Theatre Clwyd doesn't actually have rehearsal rooms. And it replaces every single inch of mechanical and engineering in the building. What it doesn't mess with is the theatre spaces. I mean, yes, better seats and, better air conditioning, all of that kind of business. But it's really, really looking positive that we'll deliver this now. Tamara and I, as you know, are endlessly positive. But we have already secured a certain amount of money from Flintshire County Council towards our capital project. Arts Council of Wales also. Welsh Government, we're spending Welsh Government money at the moment, and although we're going through an election, the Labour Party in Wales have put us in their manifesto. Their commitment to Theatre Clwyd is there for all to see in the public domain. So all being well, we will start on site next year around about this time, and it will be a 2-year phased project. And we say phased because the theatre will not fully close at any point. There will always be some sort of theatre, some sort of activity happening up our hill. So we will talk to you more about that probably at the next members event, I would have thought. So I think it's time for me to stop sharing, isn't it?
Yes, just before we go to your questions, we want to do a shout out. Part of the reason we say do buy your tickets as soon as you can, book your tickets as soon as you can, is because if you don't, the Vonderfecks may have bought them all. And today is Judy Vonderfeck's 60th birthday. So we just wanted to say Pemblwydd Hapus, Judy. We can't wait to see you in our building again. I can't quite believe you're 60, but we hope that you're having a very, very happy birthday.
We know we'll see you very soon. So some questions coming in then. First one is, what's planned for the autumn? I mean, you're not happy enough. We announce a summer season and you already want to know what's happening in the autumn. Fair enough, Tamara.
So we haven't talked about this anywhere at all yet. So this is really exclusive. We will be doing the world premiere of Missing Julie by Kate O'Reilly, which some of you may have seen when we did it as a secret show. It's her retelling of Miss Julie, the Strindberg play, and she's set it in 1919 and made some quite kind of bold decisions. It's still very much true to the original, but with quite a different lens on it. So that's hugely exciting. And then we are also co-producing with the Royal Court Theatre in London a new play by Wales's own Tim Price, who is a brilliant playwright. Salt, Root and Row was his play that was done at Clwyd. He's had plays on at the National Theatre. He's had plays on at the Court, all over the place. We're really lucky. He's based in Liverpool, so he's a big supporter and champion of Theatre Clwyd, and I'll be directing that. It's a comedy with a very serious beating heart about a gentleman who is figuring out how to live on his own for the first time in his older years. And we're also, we talked about the Panto, of course, is happening in the autumn. We'll also have a programme of visiting work, as we usually do, and we'll have our Welsh language, well, now Welsh and English language Christmas shows, Gwrach Iar, and the other two in that series that Emma John has made for us. I'm also looking at this. There's a question about Welsh language provision. Yes, absolutely. We've got Theatre Again visiting us. So it's worth saying, actually, isn't it, that we've given you a few tasters of the visiting programme that we've got on our outdoor stage, in the Anthony Hopkins and in the Emlyn Williams, but there's a ton more stuff that we didn't talk about because we know ourselves and we know how much we can talk. So we've got Theatre Again, we've got Welsh language kids shows, we've got lots of Welsh language music as part of the programme, and we've got Welsh language playwrights who will be writing some of the plays for Curtain Up. So there's a ton of Welsh language stuff.
We've got somebody who says it's a great looking programme and I'm really looking forward to seeing some live theatre and music again. Thank you very much. Are you looking for volunteers to help in any way? Well, we're just rebooting our volunteer programme. I would say rebooting. Our volunteers haven't been coming in. We've not been asking our volunteers to come in during the last year for obvious reasons. We are just starting to speak to them about coming and supporting. So if you're interested in the volunteer programme, jump on the website and you can contact us, and the team who look after all the volunteers will be in touch.
There's a question about cinema further up. So the cinema will be reopening. It's a bit more complicated because of the size of the space and also the routes in and out. So we haven't announced our cinema programme yet, but we will be doing that as soon as we're able. And there's
it's also worth saying that we will be showing films in the Anthony Hopkins Theatre again when we can, alongside all of this programming, as we did last year.
And there's also there's a question here: when do tickets go on sale for members? Now! They are actually on sale now. You could go online right now, but don't, because we're talking and this is lovely and we can't see any of you, but we're going to assume that you're having a lovely time too.
Yes, let's assume that. It's easier this way because we could just convince ourselves that you're all having a lovely time. During the 2-year upgrading, what level of activity will there be on stage? Very, very good question. There will be an awful lot of activity. You know us as an organisation, we don't do things by halves. We will always have 2 auditoriums available. Sometimes there will be temporary auditoriums alongside the Anthony Hopkins Theatre, and no doubt we will start to do more things out and about in site-specific locations as well.
I think that might be the end of the questions. So we talked about all the additional stuff that we haven't talked about in this launch. You will be getting a brochure next week. Please do share it with your friends and family. And obviously, all of the information is also on our website, www.theatrefluid.com.
Who says www anymore? Who says that?
I just did that so that you could mock me for it. And also, of course, you can come and see us. And as we said, I don't think we actually gave you a date, but from May the 4th.
No Star Wars jokes here. Thank you.
From May the 4th, our cafe will be open, so you can come and visit. Our building will be open, so you can come and visit us then. It's just a heads up, the cafe, it's not the cafe as you know it, or as you may have known it prior to the pandemic. So it's not stuff on the ground floor. There will be you will be able to buy teas and coffees and cakes on the ground floor. We will also be opening up our bar as we did before. But yeah, it's a slightly different thing. And look, someone's messaged us to say, yes, we are indeed having a lovely time. And I don't think I even let my mum know this was happening. So it's not even my mum saying that we're having a lovely time.
It might be mine. I mean, she kind of follows me everywhere online. It's been so lovely to be able to tell you about theatre and music and dance and comedy and all of these things that we're going to start putting on our stages, indoors and out. We cannot wait to welcome you back.
It's worth saying again, thank you. Thank you so much for still being members. Your support through this has meant the world, and those messages that you've sent us saying, kind of sending love and saying you can't wait until we reopen, the financial support you've given us where possible by either allowing us to credit your account or donations, we wouldn't be looking nearly as smiley as we do right now if it weren't for all of you.
So before you stop having a nice time, we ought to wrap up, because you know we go on and on. So diolch yn fawr iawn.